repeat that process all the way down on both sides, and I'll have about 6 roughly 3 foot wide rows, literally 3 feet wide. Well guys, I got me a garden. This is our community garden. You can get a free plot that appears to be about 30 by 60. I was just measuring it off, just pacing it off, so I can make my rows here. Gonna get started. I'm no expert gardener, so if you got any tips, send them my way. This is a little bit different tool. This is a really old tool. I don't know. I had no idea what it is really, but I'm gonna give it a shot and see how it works. It's got a bit longer handle. That handle on that other thing's too short. Yeah, that works good. It pulls itself right down in. It's like a little miniature tiller. If you want grass to grow, it won't, but start a garden, you'll have grass everywhere. Well, I got my rows all marked off. I got 8 rows, roughly 3 foot wide, and my garden is 25 by 50 roughly. Now what I'm going to do is I'll just take my shovel and I'll run right down those marks I made to divide my rows, and I'll take a shovel's depth and pile it right up on top of all those weeds. That'll give me raised beds, and since this was already tilled, most of those weeds haven't got a good start. I'll just bury them alive and plant my tomatoes and stuff right on top of them, and by the time those weeds have come up through that dirt that I buried them with, if they do, my veggies will be taken off and I should be able to maintain it. At least that's how it's worked in the past. Hopefully it still works that way. That's it, just keep going like that. It helps to walk backwards when you shovel, and it helps not to look at the finish line. Just keep going, eventually you'll get there. Well, it's coming along. I dug 1, 2, 3 50-foot trenches. This is really soft earth though, so it's actually not hard at all to dig it, but I tell you what, I'm out of shape, I know that. I figured it out, and by the time I get done digging those rows, I'll have dug about a 470 foot long trench that's about a foot deep. So I dig 2 rows and I take a break. 100 foot at a time. There's a gnarly little jumping spider on this grass. He was right here on this branch. There was a little bitty one, and now I just see one big fat one come out here 2 hours ago. not even half done turning over this garden, and had a quart of water and it's already gone. I'm gonna have to go get more. I got my rows made, now I just gotta go through and clean them all up. Got 9 50-foot rows that are about 3 or 4 foot wide. That's it. There's my raised beds, and the idea here is I can water these troughs, and that way the water will be way down in there and it won't evaporate out. Plus it's going to force these plants that I put up on the beds to take their roots down to try and reach that water, and that way the roots will be deeper and the roots will stay cooler and moister, and I won't have to water as much. Now I just got to use one of these rakes, depending on how hard this soil is, and just even out the top of these beds, and I'll be ready to plant. That's why you don't let nobody use your tools. They come up missing and you end up having to use junk like this. Let's use this one instead. It'll just take longer. I think I'll get some duct tape and enter Rob's Anders Bork's duct tape contest. Put this rake back together. I actually enjoy gardening very much, but it is a lot of work, no doubt about that. This is our old garden, but because of the, I'm gonna blind you here, because of the trees, we don't really get much sun. There's a big box elder right here, and this just really hasn't been a very good spot for a garden. Very limited sunlight. You need sun all day long for a good garden. I'm starting this gardening thing for one because I just happened to run into the mayor of our town, and we have a community garden here, so I figured I'd see about getting a spot, and sure enough there were still a few left. It's free to anybody that lives in the community. All you need is a rake and a shovel or whatever, and they give you the spot and you can make yourself a garden. I think it's a great idea, and I think it'd be really cool if a lot of other communities did this. I guess that's one nice thing. I know a lot of big cities do this too, but I think it's one nice thing about living in a small community is you know, you can see the mayor out and about and just talk to him just like anybody else, you know. He's just a normal guy. Mosquitoes are out. But this is just going to be part of a new series, gardening. Because I got a garden now. I've gardened for probably 8 years, but when I moved after the divorce, I had to kind of give up the gardening. I tried it here once, but it didn't work very good because of the lack of sun, and so I kind of just gave up on it for the past 4 years. So it's cool that I'm back into gardening. So you're probably gonna see I'll just show you the progression throughout the summer. It's not going to be anything special. I did want to show the raised bed, the way I make those beds, because when I was on the forums and stuff, there was always a lot of gardening questions, and I would give advice because I think I'm a fairly experienced gardener, and there was a lot of people that asked about my beds, and I really couldn't show them how I did it. So I figured I'd show it, that way if any of those guys or girls are out there and want to know, there it is. But it is a good way to garden if you want to preserve moisture, because I don't like using water on my garden if I can help it, because it's just a big waste, especially if you have to pay for the water. So it's just another way to garden, and it saves water, especially if you have a drought. You know, a major drought, the stuff's gonna die no matter what, but if you have a fairly dry summer that's really hot, that's a good way to do it, and your tomatoes and stuff will still do good. So thanks for watching. Thanks for all the support, comments. Talk to you guys later.